been in this business a long time, not really realizing the importance of rebuilding wrecks and what it takes to really rebuild wrecks. Anyway, I've concluded that the best and safest way for reliable Carfax are that you should have good frame specs, good wheel alignment, and all the electronics are working and operable. What I found is that with my measuring system, this is an AutoVision measuring system, it's what I prefer. I've used many different ones, but I found that this works the best for me. Performs two tasks in one. It's measuring and a wheel alignment device. I want to just set up this car and show you what I have here. This was a car that I purchased to rebuild. It's a rolled insurance repair or insurance vehicle that I'm buying. I bought to resell. I just want to show you here quickly, spec the car out and give you an idea what we got going on here. Right now I'm setting up my frame machine, my measuring system. I'm finding the car on my machine so I can get an idea where, how far off we are from factory tolerance. Here I'm taking known good factory marks or factory points, and I'm speccing the car out. What I have to do first is find two good points, which is what I'm doing now. Find my appropriate cups in my rods to be able to get the right, be able to find my right marks to acquire my specs here. What I'm finding is that more and more cars that I'm rebuilding over the years, I'm finding there to be a lot of prior damage. And what I'm proving here in this particular case is I found prior damage on this car that I believe the prior damage is what caused this damage that you see, the rolled car. I believe that the prior damage had caused this damage. And why it's so important to do what I'm doing, measure a car. Again, I'm selecting the correct rod to get my height, my length, and my width. According to my, according to factory specs, what we're going to find out here is that this was damaged here prior, like I had said, and we're going to show you roughly how significant damage, how significant this damage was or is, and that how I think from even a logical perspective you could say that with this repair being what it was, is highly likely that it caused this roll. Anyway, change my rods. Here's what I have found. At this particular point, which this is an integral point for suspension, as you can see. This is where your strut, this is where your drive line, your strut, your axle, your major suspension pieces are important. I mean, this is what drives the car. This is how your car handles. This is an important point. Anyway, in this particular point, my center markings here are what they actually are millimeters, and the software in this measuring system calculates the differences between the original spec and what the car is now. And what we're finding, or what I'm finding here, is that this car is -4 millimeters. Now, factory specs are, you want to be within 3 to even 5 millimeters. So I would say for the length we're okay. The width, we're 21 millimeters in, and we're 13 millimeters high. That's significant. If you were to look at the other side real quick, by our spec, that is, we can easily detect and conclude that this, even though this, I know from measuring before, this is going to be a little bit off. It's not substantial, whereas the other side is so far off. What we're looking at is we have 0 in width, which is great. We have 4 in length. You know, again, it's +4. That side's -4. But in all actuality, you know, we're in the ballpark, and our height is there again. It's 3, 4, 5 millimeters under. It's actually, if you were to raise the bar, it's actually low. And now, whether this strut difference was caused by the roll, I can't say for sure, but I would believe that it's more relative, or more related, I should say, to the damage that was caused prior on the left side. And the reason why this is prior damage, as we can see, we can take a quick look here and notice what we have so far as the inner structure is concerned. An inner apron was replaced really poorly. You can see the poor weld job here. That's, I mean, it goes along with everything else. You can see how far off this factory hole is about. It looks like it's about 10 millimeters, you know, 8 to 10 millimeters difference here in height, which is part of the reason why this is being thrown off, plus the fact that it's in so far. And then you can also see the damage in the upper control arm. You can just look at the damage and see how number one, it's old damage, and number two, how really bent and distorted it is. And we'll look at the other side, and you can make the comparison yourself. When you come over here on the other side, of course this is factory and it's never been damaged. Damaged, you know, that much anyway. But you can see the upper control arm is pretty good. The apron itself, the holes, you know, obviously nothing cut, but any welds they're factory welds, and it's all fairly, I would say, relatively safe. There again, in the roll, the suspension was damaged, and we put a used piece of suspension, but I'm just showing this suspension so that you can understand how it should look, as opposed to how this did look. And this damage here was this damage obviously was damage that was done prior to the roll. So, I mean, you can only put 2 and 2 together and really conclude that from what it appears and from what I can see professionally speaking, and I've been in this field for 30 plus years, been involved in iCar, ASE, I've got an insurance background, but in any case, I've been involved in this field and every part of this field for years, and from a logical perspective and a professional perspective, it appears that this damage is what's caused the roll. If you look in the front, you can see the deviation in the front, and notice just by looking that this side is higher than this side, and that was done prior to this roll. Again, it was done prior to this roll. Now, whether or not this is an issue for anyone is not really all that relative. I will be repairing this. I will be measuring this. I will be cutting another piece off and putting an entirely new upper apron in here, and I will be measuring the car, and it will be done according to factory specifications, and it will be aligned. Anyway, my point here today is to let you all know that the only real way to provide safety to the consumer and safety to the public is to measure a car, truly measure a car, align a car as per spec, measure the car as per spec, and then again check all the electronics, make sure the SRS, the ABS, and all the appropriate electrical components are working and operable. It's very, very important. I believe that it's important politically that our politicians get involved in this. Maybe we don't realize the importance of this because we're all consumed with our problems financially, the economy's bad, but when you have damage like this that was repaired and it was repaired improperly, it not only creates a hazard for you, it creates a hazard for anyone that's coming alongside you, coming down the road. I mean, this car could have easily hit someone else, causing injury, death, what have you. Anyway, the real reliable, this is the only really reliable way to check a repaired car, a salvage car, and in a lot of cases a used car, and in a lot of cases body shops. I mean, the reality of it is that there are no minimum standards. There are none. And it's important that we recognize these facts and realize that there should be minimum standards. And again, they are good frame specs, good wheel alignment, and all the electronics working and operable. This should be mandatory, and it should be a part of our trade and a part of our profession. Very important. The outside cosmetics obviously isn't as important as the inside, because this car from the outside did not appear to be this bad. And it's not so much the bad quality of welding as it is the measuring and the alignment. Because if someone takes the time to measure and align a car, pretty much logically they're going to take the time to do proper welding and proper sectioning. The painting and all the cosmetics can be worked out in any other way. But these are very important integral parts of the vehicle. The suspension, the inner part, the passenger compartment, this is the torque box. Everything should be really well equipped. Everything, all the electronics should be working. All the airbags should be working. Very important. All this they were designed for a specific reason and engineered for a specific reason, and it's all about consumer safety, and that's why anything that's repaired after the fact should be measured, aligned, and make sure that the electronics are working and operable. Keep that in mind. Pay close attention to what you're buying. It's very important that we as consumers realize what's going on here and understand the significance of all this. Thank you for your time.